You're listening to Comedy Central.
Welcome to the Jim Jefferies Show podcast. I'll do the theme song. This is the Jim Jefferies Show. It's different from other shows because it has a different name.
We actually have the theme song in front of that. You know that?
Is there a theme song?
No, we have the theme song from the show, and then you sing whatever that is every week.
Dun 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 dun.
So those were the actual lyrics to that song, to that music?
I just make up a different song every week, man. We should introduce our guest.
Yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias. Fluffy.
I probably should have waited for the intro.
Nah, man.
We're not. This is not our strong suit intros on this show, by the way. Sometimes, but thank you for being here.
Thank you.
In case you don't know Gabriel, you've been living under a rock. Biggest comedian in the world. Would you say that you got to be the biggest selling comedian in the world right now?
I think behind Kevin.
Fuck Kevin. Fuck, you're bigger than Kevin. I should advertise the shows that I have coming up. Maple. Yeah, the month of April. May 18th at Tenniel Hall in London, Ontario, Canada, which is where I'm going to be on Friday. Fuck me.
Yeah.
May 19th, First Ontario Concert Hall in Hamilton, Canada, which is good because I can drive between the two cities, so I love that. Clusterfest Comedy and Music Festival, June 1st to June 3rd in San Francisco. Now, I think I'm only performing on one of those days, but I'm going to hang out and just fucking see the other comics and stuff because it sounds like it's a good time.
You're going to be performing on June 2nd.
Yeah, well, but the thing is you buy a ticket for all the comics and then people are just going to wander around going into things. I don't know if these shows will be good. It's like Amy Schumer's show gets out and then her audience walks into mine and then I'm just saying cunt a lot.
Doesn't she say cunt a lot?
I think she does too.
Yeah, but she doesn't say it with an Australian accent. It's super offensive when she says it. Get tickets on jimjefferies.com. You guys got anything you want to plug before we start?
Those cookies were good.
We had Fork in Pie again, man.
A big shout out to them. What's the name of the
Fork in Pie. Now, see, the thing is, we're going to start doing advertising on the show, but there's certain things I just advertise for free. Fork in Pie, Aussie Pies, and Imodium. Imodium's never let me down. Imodium never has to give me money. Every time I've shit myself, Imodium's always been there for me. Thank you, Imodium, for all the good that you give to the world.
I love that you combined the two. Yeah, it's fucking pies and Imodium.
They go hand in hand. You actually get the Imodium pie just to finish it off. It's in the cookie.
They should just mix it in the cookie.
Yeah, just put it right on the top.
Yeah,
just a little pill right on the top.
Was that your first time, your first meat pie experience? I know you've toured Australia.
No. I've visited Pie Face in Australia.
Of course, pie. There's a couple of pie faces in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did an Apprentice episode where they had to make pies for Pie Face. I watched that back before I knew that Donald Trump was an evil person. I used to enjoy him as a television star. I used to think this seems like a reasonable fellow who's firing, fucking Arsenio Hall and telling that who's the blonde bird who.
What?
You know the one that just got caught? She was on.
Oh, yeah.
She was horrible on the Celebrity Apprentice, but then she was like sexy. But Audrey O'Day, Donnie Jew, yeah, he
gave her the meat pie.
I didn't want to say Donnie Jew. Like I know they're not Jewish. I was just trying to say Donnie Jr. and then I just halted on the word, and then I was like Donnie Jew. That's not what I was trying to say. So to all the Jewish people called Donald, my sincere apologies. So let's talk about Forrest. Do you want to say anything? You introduce yourself.
I'm Forrest. How you doing? It's me. Thanks for all the bad comments you guys gave me on the internet the last couple of weeks. Really appreciate it.
What do you say to me when I read bad comments about myself, Forrest?
Yeah, but you don't listen to me. I say don't read them.
You say don't read them, but now where are you at? Where are you at? You're reading the bad comments about yourself.
I've bad comments before. It just feel like it was about my voice, and that's usually the one thing people say they like is the sound of my voice, and people are like, it's terrible. And then somebody else said something nasty, but then somebody
the problem with your voice is if people are listening in their car, they assume one of their speakers are broken. They're like, what's that? What's that growly crackle? I just got this thing put in my car.
Yeah, but no. Overall, I think it's been positive. But I the only thing I'll say is just keep. Thanks for all the follows and the nice comments about Poor Decisions, my special that's out on Amazon and iTunes. Please watch it. If you haven't yet.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Gabriel, what do you got coming up?
Let's see what's coming up.
World domination.
I'm working on it.
I watched your episode of Tank the other day.
Oh, you got a fish tank?
Yeah,
You got a fish tank. You got to put in like a fucking
I know
a
the show.
Volkswagen.
And where's
the fish tank guys from ATM, they got the show Tanked. They built me 2 fish tanks out of a Volkswagen bus. They cut a bus in half and they split them apart and then they made them into fish tanks.
Yeah.
So one of them's like a shark tank and the other one's like a tropical fish.
And it's at your house.
Or the fish? No, it's in his warehouse
I
where he
gotta-
keeps his merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've offered to make me a fish tank. I just don't know what to do. I watched your episode. It was so cool. It was in like a Volkswagen van. And then I'll be like, where are you going to put a fish tank in my house? It's just like...
You just got a new house, though.
I got a new house, but I was like, what am I going to do? Put it in my son's room?
You should do an episode where you just want a really plain fish tank. They want to do like something really extraordinary. Like, no, I just want like a square.
Yeah, I'd like
I'd
like a rectangular thing, but...
10 gallon.
What's your favorite alcohol?
Are all your fish alive?
Jim's, what's your favorite? What's your favorite?
I like
alcohol?
the tequila now and the beer.
Well, if you have a particular type of bottle, they can make a gigantic version of that bottle and then put the fish in the tank in your living room or wherever it is that you like to.
Yeah, but that's like a thing that eventually I want to give up in my life.
Alcohol or fish tank?
It's like if Tank goes, we're going to make a fish tank out of a prostitute for you. I'd be like, yeah, it's not something I'm
nice
proud
now,
of.
but
It's like something I like, but I don't know if this is a thing that I want to have on a daily basis. So did you like all your fish alive?
no, it's one of those. And I felt bad because they're beautiful and the episode looked amazing. But yeah, day 2, it's like it's like a real twisted version of Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
It's like Pimp My Ride.
But those fish tacos are good, right?
All those cars on Pimp My Ride, like a month later, just shit. They haven't washed it or detailed or anything. There's just like food. It's the same thing, right?
Anytime you rush production on something like that, especially with marine life is very delicate. So to get the pH balance in the fish tank just right, you don't just do that in a day. It takes a while.
You don't know this, but Forrest used to be a marine biologist.
I did.
So then you know what I'm talking about.
I do know pH balance for sure.
Yeah. It's not just shampoo.
No, yeah, especially if it's a saltwater tank. It was a saltwater tank?
tank?
Yeah, those are impossible. Those are
I always watch these shows. Like, there's one in Britain
Yeah.
called 24 Hour Makeover, where they send in builders and they redo your entire house in 24 hours, and they're trying to brag about that. And I always think to myself, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Can I have like a nice 3-week makeover? Like, who wants a 24-hour? Like,
Yeah,
and every
especially with
like the
your wiring.
last 10 minutes is always like some cunt putting up wallpaper, and he's like, "I'm doing my best."
Yeah.
You know, the whole place is falling to bits.
Yeah, 24-hour bridge. They should have that show. They build a bridge in 24 hours, then you have to drive a car across it and it collapses. That'd be a fun show for everybody.
Have you been to Tel Aviv? We did. We went together.
There was no bridges there, though. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like
24-hour bridge.
It's like that town, man. That town is like 100 years old, and it's
You
falling.
hate Tel Aviv.
I don't hate Tel Aviv. The people are very nice, but it's the town is falling to fucking bits, right? It's falling to bits, and then there's a town next to it that's 3,000 years old that's doing great. Looks
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, Jerusalem. Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Yeah, but you've got a town that's like 100 years old, and they fucking, and you know what? Look, it's just, let's be honest, it's a city filled with Jewish people, and I love the Jewish people, but they don't work in the construction.
They're not handy.
You never gone. I need a plumber, and a Jewish guy showed up. It just. You know what I mean? Like, for them to build a whole city, how on earth do we think this was ever going to work out tops? All right, so that's me out of every Spielberg movie.
All right.
So that's what happened to that Megan Fox. Anyway, so
You sounded like an old man when you said it.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
I'll tell you, I've never told this story. I got a Megan Fox story. I have a Megan Fox story.
Really?
About 8 or 9 years ago, and it's sort of the peak when she just did her first like Transformers or something. I got booked to do Captain Brian's.
I did that with you.
Oh wow, comedy club in
Marco Island.
Marco Island.
The Florida Keys. There's a comedy club which is
It was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. The food was great.
Amazing food.
Were you there when they had the jet skis and all that stuff? They used to be able to like go out on jet skis, and then they Is that what you're talking about, or no?
No,
Just
it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah,
Captain Brian.
Yeah, Captain Brian.
The
Yeah.
really
Captain
good
Brian.
fish and chips. And
Now, should I say, I
combo.
like Captain Brian, but he did request that you called him Captain Brian.
Yes.
And he was just a guy that was the same fucking age as me, who used to own a boat. That's like because I've wanked a few times, it should be called Sex Expert Jim.
I think he owned the boat when I went there.
Yeah. And so it's like, hey, Brian. And he'd be like, Captain Brian. It was like the episode of Seinfeld where you had to call the guy Maestro, right? So it was that weird thing. You had to call the guy Captain Brian. His parents were there and everything. And it was great. They had these stuffed shrimp. They had crab and stuff. And I fucking loved it. Anyway, so I go there. I enjoyed doing the gig and everything. But one time I went down there to do the show, and it was Thanksgiving weekend, which obviously as an Australian who had been in the country for about 6 months meant fucking nothing to me. But I went down to do a Thanksgiving weekend at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club. Off the Hook Comedy Club.
That's it.
With a picture of an actual hook.
It is, exactly.
And there was nothing on the hook, so it was accurate.
Loving the advertising.
Anyway, so what happened was I went down there. There was only 40 people in this fish restaurant. I was performing. I was like, oh, fuck this, man. This is going horribly. And I think, was that the one where I just took a piss break or a cigarette break?
I was with you. That was like when we first met almost. That was like a long time. And so these people, it was the second show and it wasn't a lot of people. It might have been a little less than that. You're just kind of starting to come to America and people didn't know you. And people had driven from all over Florida to come see you. You're like, I'm going to do the show. So maybe, let's say it was like 20 people or something. And in the middle, you got down and you were like walking through the crowd and talking to me like, hey, do you guys want to smoke a cigarette? And they're like, sure. And they all went outside and everybody smoked a cigarette.
You took the inside.
Yeah.
I took the audience outside. I chatted to them a bit, and then I said, "Do you want to go in and finish the show?" And they're like, "Sure, Jim." And we all went back in.
And then you said, Forrest, get a pad, take a drink order. I got everybody's drink order, and I got them.
But
all the
was
drinks
this the same Megan Fox night?
Yeah, it was the same weekend, but not the night.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so the next night, fucking, I'm there. I'm on stage. There's an attractive woman. She's wearing a baseball cap, and she's very pretty. And it was Megan Fox, right? And Megan Fox comes from that part of the world, and she was there for Thanksgiving, and she was there with Brian Austin Green. This is before they had kids and all that type of stuff. So anyway, I'm sitting there chatting to the audience and everything, and afterwards, I'm outside, and Brian Austin Green walks up and says, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" I'm like, "Wow, you're Brian Austin Green." And then I started chatting, and then Megan Fox walked up, and then Megan Fox's sister, who incidentally still hot, but not Megan Fox, right? You do what you got in this world.
It's almost Megan
And
Fox.
then there was a guy, her husband, Megan Fox's sister's husband, was a guy in construction, and his whole world revolved around, "I fucked Megan Fox's sister." Like he could have, like if he could have just yelled that out every 5 seconds, that would have been his fucking happy place, right? So I'm chatting to Megan Fox, I'm chatting to Brian Austin Green, and then we start drinking in the bar next door. There's no one in this. There's a little courtyard. There's maybe 50 people in the courtyard, but soon news gets out. And people just show up from nowhere. So all of a sudden, like 150 people just show up, and they're just sort of staring. And see, this is the peak of her. They're staring at Megan Fox and me and Brian Austin Green having a drink. And then everyone comes up. Now, in Megan's defense, everyone came up and said, "Can I have a photo?" Now, she was dressed in sweats. She had a baseball cap on. Her whole image is being like the hottest chick on earth. So she didn't want to take photos. She goes, "Look, I'm not taking photos with anybody. I'll sign an autograph." She was very polite. She said, "I'm not going to take a photo." I'll sign. We kept drinking. I'm not going to take photos. Anyway, about an hour and a half in, this big fat guy who looked like the comic book guy from The Simpsons, right? He walks up to the table and he goes, "Can I have a photo?" And she goes, "I don't take photos." And then before she could stop talking, he goes, "I've been a big fan of yours Jim, for years. I've been following you since you were in the UK." And I went, "Of course, I do take photos," right? so I took a photo with this guy, and he didn't even notice, but Megan Fox took the photo.
He handed the camera to her.
He was so fucking starstruck by me. He handed the camera to Megan Fox. He's like, "Thanks for this."
Nice sweats.
Yeah, nice sweats. Nice. Anyway, Megan, how's the marriage going? Reach out to me. So let's talk about the.
That's awesome, though.
Is that the best come on you've heard for a while? It's like, how you going, just Megan? Just now, Fluffy. Did you see the show? Did you come to the show today?
Yeah, I love the show. And you know what? You know a show is funny and you know the writing is good when you can laugh at it the second time. Because I saw you flub a couple times and you redo it and it was still just as
Oh, thank you. It's
not saying that you're out there making mistakes. I'm just saying that
you got
good writing on the show.
That may have been one of my best reads. Like normally it takes like 5 retakes. I think I had about 2 or 3 pickups, so it was actually pretty good. The doctor says I'm reading at a 5th grade level.
Yeah, well, that was even the wrong way to say that, but okay. You mean 5th grade level? Back to 4th grade level for you.
A 5th grade level.
5th grade.
We say it differently in Australia.
Yeah, no, you don't. I've been to Australia. Don't say everything.
And I'm super offended.
Is that always his go-to? Like if he messes something up, well, that's how we say it where I'm from.
Anyway, so on the show, we'll talk about what happened on the show today. Our first, I can't remember. Jack, get me a drink.
I can tell you what happened. It's on the sheet underneath that sheet right there.
Where is Jack?
I don't know.
Fucking, he graduated from college, and now
It's on the
he's...
sheet. It's on the sheet underneath.
And now he's fucking super lazy.
But first, in case you didn't notice, our title sequence every week we have like I wouldn't say Easter eggs because it's in your face, but we change our title sequences every week. Kind of put a couple things that are happening in the news, and one of the things was Giuliani sticking his foot in his mouth because he's been a complete and utter dickhead.
Yeah, but if you look at the footage, the foot is massive.
It's a big foot.
The foot's bigger than his head. Who knew that Giuliani had such a massive foot?
Yeah, and I guess a big dick on too. That's the whole thing, right?
What?
In Australia, that's what they say in Australia.
Yeah, I didn't think that was very pleasant. Talking about Giuliani's dick, maybe that's how he stopped all the crime.
Big foot, big dick. Come on, guys.
And then there was an Iran missile. What did the Iran missile change into?
It changed. I think it was South Korea. It was like, South Korea.
Where's
North Korea.
Jack?
North Korea, and then it changed to Iran because that's who we're...
So we talked about torture.
Is Jack a person or the drink?
Jack.
okay.
Not Jack.
Jack's his assistant.
It's Jack's assistant.
When I hang out at the bars, I just yell tequila, and then it would show up.
You just downgraded Luis to Jack's assistant.
Yes, I do, but I don't want Jack to deliver it. I'm joking. You know what I like about Jack is he just graduated college like last week and he's still getting me drinks. Oh, all that schooling paid off. Anyway, so we talked about
Our first act, torture.
torture.
There you go.
Now I think John Oliver maybe done something on torture maybe 8 or 9 months ago.
I think he's done a couple of things on it, but it's unavoidable to not to talk about some of the same topics. But
No, I'm not worried about that. We didn't do any of the same jokes.
But what's different is Gina Haspel is being confirmed by the Senate Intelligence Committee to be the head of the CIA, the first woman to be the head of the CIA. And so during these hearings, like things were coming out that there was like a covert detention site in Thailand where there was terrorism suspects that were waterboarded when she was in charge of it. So there's been a lot of talk about torture during our confirmation hearing. So that was pretty much our piece on like whether torture works or doesn't work.
And
Didn't she say that she wasn't going to do it?
Yeah,
she's done it in the past, and now she's like, I'm not going to do it in the future.
I went to Tortures Anonymous, and
she's actually wearing a torture patch that tortures her arm a little bit, so
every
she
year she's going to get a chip.
What does a torture chip look like? Like a little pair of pliers.
Yeah, you get a needle nose pliers the first year, and then you get a car battery, little miniature car battery the second year.
So many other shows have done things on torture, and they've always taken the attitude that torture never works under no circumstances. Torture doesn't work. And me personally, I don't agree with torture. I don't think we should torture people. I think it's not a good move. If you watch a lot of 24, you see a lot of results happen there, but they always play it in like 24, like
it's television.
You got to torture someone because you need the information in 5 seconds. It's like a lot of the people we're torturing. It's like information we need for 3 months' time. So just torture them a little bit, just like like mail them a pizza that they didn't ask for, and say things about their wives. Anyway, so what happened was. I do think that we shouldn't torture, but I'm not of the opinion that torture never works. It has to work sometimes.
Anytime I was lying, my mom would pinch the hell out of the back of my arm. I was like, no, this is what happened.
Sometimes it's worked on me. We said it in the piece. It has worked on me. My brother would hold me down and tickle me till I pissed my pants, and then I would just piss my pants because I thought this was an easier way to get out of it. Of course it's worked. I was in a relationship recently with a girl for over a year who tortured the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
What information did she get out of you?
That's true. I didn't give any information. I just felt the constant pain.
Did you tell her you love her?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's some information, right?
Sometimes.
That's your feelings.
Yeah. She tortured me.
Made you vulnerable.
Tortured me with feelings. Yeah.
Have you recovered from the torture yet? Of
No
that relationship.
No, I'm not recovered.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what happens is I'm of the opinion that torture works a little bit. That torture isn't.
But overall.
But
what was the conclusion?
overall, the conclusion is that it hasn't worked so many times that mathematically it isn't the right thing to do. We wrote a funny little joke about the whole idea that if in 1889 you could have killed all the babies in Germany, that was the year that Hitler was born.
The point made before that was like if you could torture one person out of 100, if you got information out of one person by torturing 100 people. Is that worth it? And you made the analogy of this.
My analogy was this: is like if in 1889, the year that Hitler was born, you could go into Germany and kill the 1.75 million babies that were born in Germany at that time. If you did that, would that save the 50 million people who died in World War II? And our answer was no, because Hitler was born in Austria.
Yeah, which is a great. It's a great joke because it makes the point of the piece too. Like. You would be like, yeah, I kill all those babies. And they'd be like, well, wrong. He wasn't even there. So you just fucking killed 1.7 million babies. And you didn't even get to the point they were trying to do. There's some that we...
Fluffy, you're not drinking? I've never seen you sober.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I've been sober since November 20th of 2016.
Really?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You packed it in.
I had to, bro.
Why?
You as a entertainer and as a drinker should understand that from time to time you might get carried away.
Yeah, it's you know what it is. I don't believe I'd have an alcohol problem.
The correct way to put it. Yeah, okay.
It's a problem in our society, in our business, that what happens is. So I don't think I'd be a full blown alcoholic if I was an accountant, because I wouldn't be showing up to work all day with a full bar. And like people encouraging me to drink and all that type of stuff. I think it's very difficult in our industry.
People always want to buy you drinks.
Everyone wants to buy you drinks. Everyone wants to have a fucked up photo.
Send them a shot.
Yeah.
And wasn't it better when you were just a little bit famous? When you were a little bit famous,
God, yes.
Getting wasted was great because a photo didn't matter and all that type of stuff. But there was
nothing to lose.
Then when you're actually famous, people are like, I was wasted with Fluffy. I was wasted with Jim. I get this now. It's like, I can't go to a strip club because some cunt will fucking take a picture of me having a lap dance. It's like, I feel like with the amount of fame you get, the fun goes down.
It's a gilded cage, man.
In public places. Mm-hmm. In private, come on. We have a wonderful time in our own houses.
In our own house, yeah.
Oh, the debauchery that goes on in my house. And then I give my kid back to my mother, and then I'm just lonely.
Just you and your son fucked up?
I'll give it to me. I'm very funny. Now, so we talked about the torture.
Wait, weren't we going to waterboard you or something like that in this piece?
There was an idea for a while. We thought of an idea where you go, what if, and this is from one of our writers, one of our dumber writers, who said, what about if for the piece at the end we just waterboard Jim and see how it goes? What do you mean, see how it goes?
There's some paperwork you have to sign first, Jim.
That's like, I should just have some gay sex and see how it goes.
See how it goes.
Maybe it's not so bad.
The jokes write themselves.
Yeah, like, it would have been entertaining to waterboard me, but I just, to this day, I still don't quite know what waterboarding is.
It's like, so...
You take the towel, put a towel over someone's face, and then you just pour water onto it. And it basically, it simulates drowning.
You put them,
right. Thank God we didn't hang out too much while you were drinking.
Yeah, no. There would have been tequila in that towel, bro.
Yeah. I feel like someone has too much information. Old waterboard Iglesias. He goes back to the house. He goes, this is why my fish are dying. The tank's empty.
So the board is angled a little bit, like your head is at one end, and that head is angled a little bit down too.
Yeah,
and tilted. So the funny thing about this is, like, everyone during this confirmation hearing, and Trump and all these people have said waterboarding's not that bad. It's not that bad. And it's like, if it's not that bad, why are we doing it to try and get information? It should be bad. Like, that's the whole point of it. Is it should be bad to get the information.
Okay,
otherwise it's not.
Why does it has to be waterboarding? Why is waterboarding what is wrong with just some pliers and taking some fingernails out? I would fucking talk, right?
This isn't permanent, though.
I think that the waterboarding, because there's no scarring.
Yeah.
Emotional. Yeah. But
that.
there's nothing physically outside that goes.
There's no permanent damage.
We did nothing to you.
Yeah,
Look, you're dry now.
Exactly. If you're missing fingernails, you're gonna torture you.
You just put my ex-girlfriend in a room with a guy and make him question his fucking self-beliefs for an hour. That will leave. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? It's like the people at Guantanamo Bay. If they walk out with a hand that's been smashed up by a sledgehammer, when all of a sudden going to go, "Ooh, it's a bit rough in Guantanamo Bay." It's implied,
Yeah.
right? So give me, okay, just make up the two of you, and I'll tell you who's won. The best form of torture off the top of your head, just simple torture.
I would say stick something in in your penis, in the hole of your penis. Like
That's a gonorrhea test. I had one of them recently.
no, but like way up into the penis.
Oh yeah, no.
Like how far does your gonorrhea test go up in your penis?
Not as far as I would have hoped.
I think if you tie.
Don't know what that means, but in Australia, is that something different?
Let's just put it this way: I didn't come. All right, Gabriel. Gabriel.
Tie someone's hands behind their back, put them in a small closet, cover them with honey, and then let the ants out.
All right, someone fucking came up with that a little
sounds
quick.
like you've done that.
Jesus,
Hey, man.
Jesus Christ. We'll call that the Iglesias.
And this is why you stopped drinking, right? This is an incident that happened at your house or something?
Oh man, that's crazy dreams.
So
What's your torture? You didn't do your torture.
Oh, my torture. I fucking
Head up the dick. Up the tick is hard.
no, I'm just pliers and nails. Right,
That's very sadistic.
That's
You know
very
what, though,
sadistic.
there are some people though that thrive with pain. That pain's not going to affect them. I mean, you got to do something more, more mental.
You got some guy that was
More
in the
mental.
S&M.
They gotta
He was
do
"You've been to
something
that."
like-
You start coming. Yeah.
Like there's some people you could torture if you just show them a video of you're hurting either
Yeah,
their pets or hurting their family or something like that.
Oh, that would be bad.
You know.
Yeah, hurting people's pets and family. That's not good. I like that you
mental
put.
torture.
I like that you put pets first.
I don't have kids, so if they were my cat, I'd be like,
Bro,
Yeah, but
I'm
it's-
gonna show you my cell phone. You're not gonna see a girl on there. You're gonna
like if
gonna see pets.
if someone was to hurt your mother, right? That would be torture, right? That would be
Of course,
torture.
yeah. That's my mom. Yeah, that would be. I'd be angry, and then, as you would say, I would slowly move towards that person and try to kill them.
Yeah, no, it's over Skype. They're miles away. You can't do anything.
Yeah. No, it's,
And then what if they hurt your dad?
I mean, at first I'd have to recognize it.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
dad.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's my dad. That's
Your
right.
your
And then
first question would be, "Are you sure that's my dad?"
looks like him, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen him.
it
in a
could
long
just
time.
be a shaved down bear.
I don't think I would even go to my dad's funeral. We talked about this. Let's not make it
We
too
don't want
sad.
to. Oh, no, that's really sad. You've had a horrible life. Anyway, next act.
Act 2.
Phil Peace, monarchy. What happens is, now I don't know when this podcast goes out. When does this podcast
Tomorrow.
go out? Tomorrow, that's fine. So Meghan Markle is marrying Prince Harry. Now, Meghan Markle used to be one of the girls on Deal or No Deal who opened the briefcases. And now she is marrying a prince. You think she has it all, but she doesn't. The prince is ginger. So there's a lot of trade-offs in this world. No one laughed at that. All right. So anyway, so she's going to marry Prince Harry, which is very exciting for people like my mother. My mother is a monarchist. Now, this was something we said as a joke in the intro.
By the way, do you know about her dad? What's going on with Meghan?
I know about my mum's dad. It's my grandfather.
No. Meghan Markle's dad. Like he lived in Mexico. I want to say, right? Was he in he's kind of like
Which is okay, Gabriel. I hear it's a wonderful place. Don't listen to the bad things that Forrest is going to say. He lived in Mexico and probably drank the water, and now he's dying.
No, I didn't say it like that. I was just saying he.
But
was
he got some dentist work for a very reasonable price.
he was just picking up prescription drugs. He was down there.
Yeah.
I guess now he's changed his mind. He was going to walk her down the aisle, then he wasn't. Now he is again. He was like, there were some doctored up photos that the press got a hold of him like that went viral of him. It's just like he's kind of like the shady.
He's a bit deadbeaty, right?
Yeah. He hasn't really been around there for her, and he's kind of like, which is really. Normally is just like whatever, everyone has one in their family, but this guy's going to be connected to the royal family now, and he's kind of like this character that'd be in a sitcom.
Oh, man. How good would it be if he gets all fucked up and then just halfway down the aisle, he just yells at the Queen, "You don't know me!"
There's a chance that could happen. Like, he's an interesting guy.
You got to think, though, that there's already family members like that they just don't let you see.
Yeah.
He's the Roger Clinton.
You know? Yeah, there you
They
go.
all got him. They got the Roger Clinton. They name some shitty family members.
But in the
down here.
royal family, who's it been in the royal family? I don't know.
Who's it been in the royal family?
That's
Okay,
shitty.
so the royal family.
Wait, who dressed up in the Nazi uniform?
That Prince Harry.
Oh, that's the one that's married. Okay,
Prince Harry dressed up in a Nazi outfit at a fancy fucking. I'll tell you, and a friend of mine, Killian. I know a comedian in Britain, and you can check this story. His name's Aaron Barshak. Now, Aaron was he's a guy, right? But he's a comedian. He was an open mic guy, right? And after 9/11, Aaron, I don't even think he was Arab. He was just sort of brown skinned from some other way. Anyway, so Aaron.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So.
No, but he could have been.
I just
he
said a
could
guy
have been-
lived in Mexico. You
No,
jumped on me.
but he could have been a quarter Indian or something. Aaron Barshak, he probably was Arab, and so anyway, it doesn't matter.
Barshak?
So, yeah, Aaron Barshak. Now you can Google this. Now after 9/11 happened, Aaron's whole thing was that he decided that he was going to be the comedy terrorist, right? So what he did was he would dress as
That's ballsy.
he would dress as Bin Laden, right, in a dress. He would dress as Bin Laden, cross-dressing, and then during comedy performances, he would run on stage and push the other comedian out of the way and become a terrorist and just start doing comedy in the middle of other people's acts and go, "I am the comedy terrorist." And then people would tackle him. His act would run out fairly quick. Now, what happened was Prince William, so this is I was living in Britain. This is, I'm going to say, 14 years ago. Prince William was turning 21. Mm-hmm. They're having his birthday at Windsor Castle, which is the castle that they're having the new wedding at. Right. Normally they do it down at Buckingham Palace and Westminster Abbey, but they're having this one down in Windsor Castle. And so down in Windsor Castle, Prince William had a 21st birthday party, and the 21st birthday party was fancy dress, and it was like the theme was like natives and colonials, right? Like you can't be more of a posh cunt than that, right? You had to dress like you were conquering something or a native or something like that. Anyway, so Aaron stood out the front of Windsor Castle dressed as Bin Laden. So we got to talk. This is like 2005,
in a pink dress.
In a pink dress.
I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, in a pink dress. Also wearing.
You already found it.
Also wearing a massive merkin, like a big pubic hair wig. Yeah. And he was dancing around and lifting up his dress and that type of stuff, trying to get attention at the front of all these people going into the wedding. Anyway, the birthday. So the birthday happens. And then they're going, "Oh, okay, so what's happening?" So Aaron had lost his bit of attention that he was trying to seek. So what he did was he crawled the fence and got into the courtyard.
It says he scaled the walls of the castle.
He scaled the walls of the castle, and then he found himself in the courtyard. Now, Aaron is actually a private school educated posh kid, right? And so he's in the courtyard dressed as Bin Laden.
In a pink dress.
In a pink dress with a pubic hair merkin, right? And he's standing there, and some security guy goes, "What are you doing out here?" And he goes, and he just acted posh. He went, "Oh, I came out," because it was fancy dress. He goes, "I came out here for some fresh air, and I seem to have gotten myself lost." And the security guy laughed and got him through 6 security checkpoints and brought him
as Bin Laden,
as dressed as Bin Laden in a dress. Got him into Prince William's 21st birthday. And then Aaron's just standing there like, "What the fuck? This is the closest. My stunt's gone too far.
He doesn't even have a plan.
Yeah, he didn't have a plan, right?
He doesn't know anybody.
He was planning for like, okay, I'm going to call somebody for bail.
Right. Yeah.
So he's looking at his cell phone because he doesn't know how to talk. He's like, shit.
So at this stage, William, the Queen's on stage, Prince Charles is on stage, every royal member of the family are in there, and Prince William is giving his speech for his 21st birthday, and then Aaron just goes, "This is my fucking shot," right? He runs up, he steals the microphone from Prince William and goes, "I am the comedy terrorist," and starts trying to do his routine. Now, the problem with Aaron is he's never been able to perform for over 40 seconds because someone always tackles him. At this stage,
He's only got 40 seconds. Yeah.
At this stage, Prince William thinks that this is a joke that Harry's playing on him, and Aaron starts doing like 4 minutes of material.
Nobody stops him.
No one stops him. Aaron runs out of fucking material before everyone goes, we don't know this cunt. And then like some guy, like the proper British royal family security, one of the guys in the big black fluffy fucking hats.
Oh, they actually do something.
Yeah, very rarely. Maybe a beef eater. I don't know. Right? One of them tackles Aaron. And then, this is what I love about Britain, right? He's in a castle. They throw him in a dungeon.
There's a dungeon in the castle, right? Yeah,
of course. This castle's like 500 years old. There's a fucking dungeon. Right? So they throw him in a dungeon. This is the biggest news to happen in Britain forever. Like someone infiltrated the 21st birthday of Prince William. Now, a few days later, there was a guy called Brendan Lovegrove, a New Zealand comic who used to try to help Aaron write jokes and stuff like that. So they all went into hiding. I went over and visited Brendan, and I'm like, fuck it. I looked down, and Aaron's sleeping on the fucking couch. He's in hiding. They have to hide him because the whole media is trying to get him. Yeah. Now, I will give Aaron this, right? So he gets thrown in a dungeon, right? And the head of security comes down, and he's fucking fuming. And he looks at Aaron and he goes, you're in so much fucking trouble. You don't know how much fucking trouble you're in. And then Aaron said, not as much as you.
Wow. That's true.
He never got, it says he was not prosecuted.
Never prosecuted. They were too embarrassed.
He got away with it.
They were too embarrassed. They were too embarrassed. He did interviews for like 60 grand and he lived his life.
That was his greatest moment right there.
That was his greatest moment. And then he went to the Edinburgh Festival and he had a show and he sold out the whole run before people realized he has 4 minutes of material.
It says, Edinburgh Festival is called Osama Likes It Hot. Co-written with Brendan. That's what you were saying?
Yeah, Brendan Lovegrove.
Yeah.
Brendan Lovegrove.
And then it also, I guess he's Jewish is what it says, because you were saying before.
That's why he was that weird
His father
brown.
died in the Holocaust.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the rest of his father's family died in the Holocaust.
Yeah, because his father was interviewed in the Holocaust. So that's
alive.
That's an interesting little story. I don't know what Aaron Barshak's up to right now, but here's the deal. So we're talking about the monarchy. So there's going to be this wedding. Now, my mother is still a big fan of the monarchy. To this day, if we were having Christmas in Australia, the Queen has a speech, and she has a Christmas speech, which all of the subjects. See, I'm not a.
Who has a Christmas speech? The Queen or your mom?
The Queen.
Okay.
Right? Now, when you're a subject of the crown, so you're an American citizen, I'm a subject, which is a different thing, right? When you're a subject of the crown, you're meant to watch at Christmas, you're meant to watch the Queen's speech. Now, the Queen's speech is a thing where the Queen on Christmas Day just rocks out on TV and just gives you a little bit of a review of the year. Because you haven't heard for a while. She goes, it's been an interesting year. It's like when Diana died, we've been through hardship. And if there's a war, we all have to come together. It's just a speech. And so I, as a child, would have to watch this lady give this speech because my mother would make everyone stop. So we had to watch the Queen. And then my mother would always finish with something like, oh, you can see the last year has been very hard on her. You can see it in her face that she's had a terrible time. So what happens is if you live in Australia or anywhere in the Commonwealth, the Queen will visit, and she's still on Australian money, you know. So the Queen would visit Australia, say, once every 3 years. But in the intermittent years, you'd get like a Charles, maybe Edward would show up. Someone would come every...
Reps,
yeah, someone would come every year. You'd get one tour from a royal every year, right? So what would happen is if any member of the royal family came to Australia, my mother would pull me out of school and make me stand on the side of the road holding a posy of flowers right up until I was 27. No, like when I was a kid, I'd have to stand on the side of the road, and as the royal family walked by, I would have to hold the flowers out in the hope that maybe the Queen... Now, the Queen would normally pick out like 3 or 4 bunches of flowers, or one of her carers would take it, and then, you know, the flowers...
She would walk up to people and grab flowers? Aren't they worried
Shit.
about her like getting killed or something like that?
No. There was Secret Service people around her all the time, you know. But so what would happen is you'd hand them, and then I tried it again with Diana when I was a kid. And so we made a joke about how my mother would do it. Now, I'm not a monarchist. I think the monarchy is stupid. I'm also a big fan of Australia becoming a republic, which I know many people who listen to my podcast give zero fucks about. But for me, it was a big deal because we were always part of the Commonwealth. And I wish we could become a republic in the same way that Canada did. But for whatever fucking reason, there's a lot of people in Australia who dig the fucking Queen. I think it's an antiquated, old-fashioned thing to have a royal family, to have somebody who has a lineage that we have to watch these people and they're born. And my mother... I don't say this lightly, but I assume when George was born, little baby, that my mother flicked her bean so much she probably rubbed the fucking thing off, right? She loves...
Masturbated to the baby?
Oh...
Yeah.
I was taken out of school. I
love that he called it a bean.
I remember when Prince William was born. I was taken out of school because my mother thought that I should watch it because Diana will walk out with the baby. So it was a big deal. Prince William, Prince Harry being born. It was a big deal. The biggest thing you could do to upset my mother was we had a Betamax video player, and her most precious item in the house was a Betamax tape that said Chuck and Di's wedding. Right? Yeah. And so me and my brothers would do this. I've accidentally recorded over the wedding. And then you watch my mum cry, and she'd be like, oh, but I pulled the lugs out. We put tape over it. We didn't know what was happening. Right? So the royal family was such a...
Does she still have that tape?
Oh!
She watches it?
It's amazing the bean's still attached.
Are you talking about her tape?
Oh, yeah, man. My mother will put one leg over that lazy boy recliner and fucking squirt across the room at the royal...
This is Gunter we're talking about.
Yeah, you could... She'll have a big cum for Prince and Charles, but the Fergie wedding's just a little squirt. Anyway, so...
What about this wedding?
Jack.
What about this wedding?
Oh, this wedding's going to be a big one. She rang me up after. I remember when William and what's the bird he's married?
Megan.
Not Megan. The one before. Kate.
I don't know anybody.
Kate Middleton. When that happened. My mother went. It was so romantic when they drove around at the front of the palace in an Aston Martin. It was the thing of fairy tales. Anyway, so.
Your mom listen to this podcast?
Yeah, I know, right?
She watches the show, I know.
She doesn't listen when I talk to her. Anyway, so what happened?
That's a good segue into parenting.
So what happened was we
Act 3.
we were in Britain. Now, what people don't know is I did a tour of the UK. I did a tour of Europe in January. Me and Forrest were there. We recorded maybe 10 field pieces. Now, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we did a field piece about the Irish abortion thing where Forrest played a parody on John Candy's character from Trains, Planes and Automobiles. And
annoyed the
you annoyed the guy that was like the Justin Barrett, who was the anti-abortion guy. The guy would say baby killers. Yeah. Anyway, so like as soon as his interview finished, what we did was we just brought in a whole lot of what they call royal correspondents. There's people in Britain who they're...
How do they make money? I was watching the field piece. I'm like, how do these people make money?
They make money because their job is to be... It's like working on Entertainment Tonight, and you're reporting on...
They gotta know anything and everything about the family.
Yeah. So their job is... Their gig is just fucking what's going on with the royals. The Royal Watch.
Like it's hyper-focused TMZ.
Yeah,
I guess it's just in our country.
Yeah, it's the same as being an Entertainment Tonight reporter, but you're only reporting on one family, right? And so these people, they're very posh, and we went and talked to them. And the thing was weird. I think the most sort of charming bit of the video was the fact that I kept on shoving my face full of food.
Yeah.
And I would like to tell everyone that wasn't a bit. I was just really hungry because I've been hanging out with Justin Barrett all day.
Yeah, and we flew from Dublin to London. Then you were getting ready for Justin. I was in the car, Justin. We brought him there. You did the interview. We cleared the whole room out and then made it look like the high tea and shit. And then you just hadn't eaten. But it came... That was really funny because it's like these people are so prim and proper. Yeah, they're like have their medals and their suits and there's like...
Yeah, I was eating. There was like a little spanakopita thing. There was like
I love that he offered you a napkin and you were just like, I'm good.
Okay. What do I need a napkin for?
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, go break Fluffy's sobriety. Just put some things in front of him until he cracks.
How you doing, Jack?
He's a jack of no trades. Anyway, so... Oh, my God.
For Jack. Come on.
Everyone felt for Jack
There's
there.
people in other countries that know Jack's name because of this podcast.
Yeah.
Don't offer him. More Jack.
Anyway, so we did a thing on the monarchy. It was kind of nice. We talked about the new wedding and all that type of stuff. It was a fun little piece.
That was funny. Yeah,
I thought it was funny. I remember doing it thinking I didn't record anything that I thought would be any good, and then it came out kind of cool. Okay, so the next thing is free-range parenting. Now, what happens with the free-range parenting is...
Can I ask, though, like, when you were doing the piece, like, you know, they're very, very serious. They take what they do super, super serious. I mean, I see the little medal. I see just the demeanor, and you're just, like, you're hanging out. Was there a point where where they questioned your sincerity?
You know, the weird thing is, if you as an American went and did that, they would have like been trying to teach you and trying to like, oh no, the wrong. But as an Australian, and this is as a white guy, I'm not going to say to you that I've ever really experienced racism or anything like that in my life. But there has been moments in Britain as an Australian, because I am basically their convict stock, where they do slightly look down on Australians. We're meant to be doing menial jobs like bartending and stuff like that. So the only time in my life where I can truly say that I've experienced a prejudice that fucking made my blood boil was in Britain. So I was hitting on a girl. I was at Oxford University doing a gig, and I was hitting on a girl. She seemed to like me. And then a really posh fucking Ra. Now, Ras are what they call posh English kids because they talk like this. Rah, 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 rah. No, that's what they called Ras, right? Anyway, so this fucking Ra walks up to this girl and goes, hey, come on, Mandy, let's go to the other party. Like that. And she goes, actually, I'm pretty happy talking to this guy. And this guy went, what, you're going to keep talking to this convict?
Wow.
And then my blood, and now I know what it's like when a black person hears the N word. My blood actually boiled, and I went, all right, cunt. Right? You know what I mean? So it
was like Goodwill Hunting, except you weren't smart.
You don't know what mathematical equations that I actually did on a fucking mirror before this.
You were like, you went up to the window and you're like, you like apples?
I didn't.
I don't know what apples are. I'm game. That was the end of the whole.
If you didn't know so much about me, Forrest, I'd be lying right now and making you feel bad.
Well, you still make me feel bad.
Right. So being called convict really boiled.
That was the only time. That was the only time that I actually felt like, whoa, because it is that thing that if you come to, we're a penal colony. We were their throwouts that were sent to another country. So there is a little bit of that in it.
Yeah, but you guys got a better country.
Yeah,
like the weather is
and
better.
The people are cool.
No one's saying
people are really cool.
Yeah, no one's saying that the British did a good move. They're like, oh, look at this man who stole a loaf of bread. Yeah. Let's move him to Bondi Beach.
Yeah. Like Sydney is like one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Yeah, like can you imagine when the first white people fucking sailed a boat into Sydney Harbour and they saw the bridge and the Opera House? Like it must have been amazing for them.
I should have committed a crime sooner.
Great.
They were in their boats going, what opera should we put on first?
It's already bridge.
Do you know what? Because the Aboriginals are always saying that. Do you know, like, my favourite beach in Sydney is Manly. A lot of people like Bondi Beach, but there's Manly Beach is sort of the beach that I like, which is sort of Sydney's second beach. There's a lot of other ones, Mona Vale, Narrabeen, whatever. Manly Beach, and this is a fun little story. Manly Beach is called Manly Beach because when the first fleet came in and Captain Cook, who incidentally died up in Hawaii, he was like a person who found all these parts of the found all these parts of the world.
He found them. Yeah. It's like, there's people here.
Yeah, yes. It's like how I found a car in the car park. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he was actually killed off in Hawaii. Like, I thought he was like a bad god or some shit. I don't know. Something to do with spam. Anyway, so Captain Cook came in to Sydney Harbour and he went by Manly Beach and there was just like a whole lot of Aboriginals standing there with spears, right? And then he said the sentence.
Welcoming committee.
And then, you know what he said? He went, "Don't they all look manly?" That's where it comes from.
That's why that beach
That's
is-
why it's called Manly Beach.
That's why it's called Manly Beach, because of all the tough guy Aboriginals. Now, I always
Have
think...
you've been to Australia, I know, right?
Yeah, I want to say that I've been to Manly Beach. I didn't know the origin of the
Yeah, Manly Beach.
the name.
Well, I always think that, like, how... Just think of this, right? So you're an Aboriginal, right, in Australia, 200 and maybe 30 years ago now. 230, that's exactly right, yeah. So 230 years ago, you're an Aboriginal. You're, at that stage, one of the more primitive races in the world. You're still hunters and gatherers and stuff like that. And then you see a boat. Do you know what it's equivalent of? Us seeing a UFO. They had never had a flotation device. Can you imagine just standing there and seeing... It's the equivalent of 12 UFOs just fucking hovering over
Seeing
the...
white people.
Yeah, a different race, alien species, and fucking UFO. It's the equivalent of that. It's fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah, white people would be weirder than the boat, I feel like. And,
No, the boat would have been
But the
pretty
Aboriginals
weird.
didn't have boats back then? They didn't make like kayaks and stuff?
Nope.
yeah, 1770, it says here.
1778.
Wait. Trespasser visit Australia's northern coast in 1720.
Okay, what happened was...
We're getting way off track. Anyways, Act 3. Let's get into that. We got to finish the podcast.
The Dutch actually discovered Australia before the English did, but the Dutch landed on the Dutch landed on the west coast,
Act 3.
and they arrived at the desert, and they actually
Governor
walked out and they went, "This place is shit."
Utah.
All right, fucking hell, Forrest.
I mean, we can do this. You can do your TED Talk on Australia if you want, or we can wrap it up.
I'm learning a lot. Can I just say that? I am learning quite a bit here.
You look very angry, Jim.
And
Are you okay?
I'm getting dumber by the minute.
Okay, there you
So anyway, Act 3, free-range parenting. Now, what happened in Utah was they've just signed a bill into law which says that people can't be arrested for things like their children playing alone in their front yard. Because what's happened in our society at the moment is, now I'm as guilty as this. If I go to a gas station, which is weird because I have a Tesla, but if I go to a gas station with my son and I just leave him in the car while I go in to get some gum or something, I can be arrested for that.
Sure.
That's the thing, though. I could
Child
be,
neglect.
Yeah, but I can see him. He's only 20 meters away. You know what I mean? So what's happened is there's silly things. Now, I don't know about...
The laws have become so restrictive now for parents. It used to be, I'm sure, like you, I know for you, but I'm sure like when you were growing up, it was just kind of like, all right, come back in 6 hours.
It was like
Yeah.
keep the car running because it's hard to start it up again because we had to pop the clutch and just keep the car running.
Yeah, exactly.
5 years old sitting in the car.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, when you went to go play, like your parents didn't look at you the whole time. They're just like,
No, I would leave the house, walk a couple blocks to the park.
no
Yeah,
cell phone, nothing.
When I was 5,
Yeah.
I would walk down to my friend's house when I was 5. There was no when my son's age now, I would walk maybe a quarter of a mile to my friend's house. There was no phone, and then I'd just bash on their window until they let me in.
Yeah, I would be gone for like 6-7 hours on my bike or my skateboard, and my mom would just hope I wasn't dead.
Yeah, but
And I would just show up.
also, I don't know what you looked like as a child, but I'm assuming you were unmolestable. Anyway,
Nah, I mean, I was thinner, so there was that. I had the same tits, but you know.
Jim, everybody has a type.
I apologize, Forrest.
Everybody has a type.
You were super molestable.
Yeah. I had long hair. I looked like a girl. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what I'm all about. Anyway, so what would happen is, so you got kids doing different things now. It's like my kid doesn't want to. He's programmed now that he doesn't want to go outside by himself and stuff like that. He sees the world as being dangerous.
I wouldn't say you're a helicopter parent.
I'm not a helicopter. I'm more of a hoverboard parent. I like to cut the little cunt's legs off occasionally.
But you have
But
kids, Gabriel, right?
I got a 20-year-old.
20. Oh, so he's okay. But he's.
Yeah, I don't know
when
where
he was
he's at.
younger.
I have no idea where he's at.
But that's fine when he's 20. But I'm saying when he was younger, did you care? Or did you
He wouldn't really take off a whole lot, you know. I mean, and when he would, it was just one of those like, all right, well, you know, we got cell phones now. Hey, you know, check in. You know, let me know where you're going.
Yeah, you're gonna get Hank a cell phone, right? It's gonna happen soon.
oh, look, I haven't got Hank a cell phone.
Not yet. I'm just saying, but it's gonna happen. He's 5.
Hank has to learn his numbers before he gets a fucking cell phone. What I'm saying is, my son's slow, man. You've met him.
I don't know if he said.
I'm kidding. Look, when he can download this podcast, he'll be old enough to know that I'm joking.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you're going to need to tell me you're joking about, but every special.
Hey, Hank, don't take drugs. Don't take drugs.
Oh
And don't watch any of your mother's early movie work.
There's a lot of landmines for him out
yeah.
there. Like, this really like
That may be one of the funniest and regrettable things I've ever said. Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about free-range parenting and all this type of stuff, and it's like I fess up that I'm as guilty as anyone of being a little bit overprotective of my child. And then there was we found out there was parks in Britain. I don't know how true
They
this
call
is.
it Adventureland parks.
Adventureland, where you can just fucking hit shit with sledgehammers and burn shit.
There's a couple in the States now too. Basically, they're reintroducing risk to children because now all the playgrounds are
super safe.
yeah, they're all foam or rounded corners, and you can't.
more sheet
it's
metal
almost impossible to
slides.
get injured, and they don't have sandboxes anymore because they're worried that kids might dig up glass or dog shit or something like that. So they have introduced these parks where there's basically they're dangerous again.
It's like an outdoor Chuck E. Cheese.
Wait a minute. Tell me about you go. They might dig up glass or dog shit.
Yeah, well, that was
Dog shit's not dangerous. It's just inconvenient.
parents don't want kids playing with dog shit. Is what I'm saying. That's why they got rid. So these parks they'll have tools like saws and drills. They can build stuff, which is dangerous. They have, and then in the one clip we had, they were breaking up boards with a sledgehammer and lighting on a fire. And there's supervisors there that make sure things don't get out of control, but they don't tell them what to do. So it's they're just lighting fires and they're stepping on nails and stuff. But what the idea is that it allows kids to make decisions for themselves, become more independent, learn how to work in groups, things like that, instead of just being coddled.
Yeah.
But it's extreme.
It is
extreme.
It is extreme.
Anyway, to summarize, the result that we learnt from the whole thing was nothing. Normally, when we do a piece at the end, we go, "Oh, I've learned A, B, C, and D." But then
I wouldn't say nothing. I think your idea was, hey, you don't have to be involved in every single decision, every second of their life, but also let them have a little bit of freedom. That's kind of what we said, just kind of not be an insane person. That's what you said.
And that brings us through to Act 4 because we had look.
I like how you were giving the history of Australia, and now you're just
Parenting
back to
was
the podcast.
what, 2 minutes?
Yeah, parenting done with that.
Stay in the Tesla.
I need to piss. I've got 2 minutes left in this
You want to give
podcast.
Captain Cook's fucking biography again? Let's go back to that.
Jack, get me a drink, and if you can,
I'm there with you though.
Can you get?
You want to pause it?
Can you get something for Forrest, which is nasty, like a cup of acid or something?
Oh, you just want to throw it on my face?
No, I'm not going to. It's not like we dated. Anyway, so.
So yeah, but I do think we wrapped it up okay. Where you're just kind of just be normal. You don't have to be in extremes for the parents.
Yeah, just that's as with all of our pieces, do your best. Anyway, so Act 4, diaper consent. What the fuck does that mean for us?
Nappy consent.
Nappy consent.
Yeah,
Nappy.
nappy.
The lady with
that
the
is
pink
definitely
hair.
a word that's different in Australia. There's nappies
She's gone viral.
and diaper. Yeah, you've seen that before.
It's like
I saw the lady.
when you hear that racist term, like they're nappy-headed, whatever.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like a diaper-headed person. What does nappy-head mean?
Well, it
There was like a radio DJ, that guy who got in trouble for saying
Don
that.
Imus. He got in trouble
What
for-
is the word? Is I'm assuming it's racist. It's against black people.
He was
What-
making a reference to the girls' basketball team at Rutgers University years ago.
yes,
Yeah.
but the term nappy
called them nappy-headed hoes.
But what
Yes.
does nappy-headed mean? Does that mean curly-headed?
He was referring to their hair. Is what he was saying.
Yeah, but why is the term nappy derogatory? I'm just trying to learn. Why?
Well, he called them nappy-headed hose. First of all, is what he called
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
But
There's
as
things
far as
I
it being
understand.
derogatory,
I
it's-
understand why hose is derogatory.
I can't tell you what's
'Cause even-
derogatory. I know in
even
my
if you cut
head
off-
that it's not a good
Yeah.
thing. Like just growing up in America, I was like, that's not a good way to address somebody. But
Even if he cut off
I think
nappy-headed,
it's
he would have just called him hose.
I think it's like it probably refers. It's probably like a term that was used back in. I don't know.
No, it's not
Looking it
good.
up.
But I thought
Slavery
I thought I would know what that word meant. Has it obviously have a different meaning?
Different meaning.
Yeah, but the origin of it, I don't know. But it's not good. I don't think so. He also said some other things.
Anyway, just to summarize.
So there was a lady.
Why are we summarizing on that? We're just like bumbling over nappy head. It's like, Jesus.
Anyway. Anyway,
It had to do with the lady that
So
said
basically, in that piece, there was a sexuality expert in Australia, your country, that said you have to get consent from a baby before you can change their diaper. And even though they can't talk, they'll make eye contact and let you know.
she was a very muscular woman. There's a beach named after her.
She had purple. She had purple hair too.
Anyway, so she was a sexuality expert. Like, how the fuck do you get that job? How all of a sudden are you an
Just
expert?
make it up.
Is there a
Not like a
course?
expert.
It's like I'm a
Yeah.
pie expert. I've eaten a lot of pies.
Exactly. You're ready to go. Go on the talk shows.
So what happened was she was saying that when babies get their diapers changed, the parent needs to get consent first.
Take a beat, look at your baby, make eye contact, and then move in. Just
See,
clean this
this-
shit.
to
This
teach the
is-
babies to be more empowered. I
Okay,
guess.
that's fine. So the baby can look at you and sort of go, rah, rah, rah. Okay, spanner works, right? What happens if your baby has cerebral palsy and can't make eye contact or hand gestures?
What if your baby's blind?
Oh, well, no one cares about the blind.
Oh, okay, good point. Yeah. No, I mean,
Hey, I'm sorry, because this is a medium you do enjoy. We do care about you. I'm sure that you blind people enjoy this podcast more than the show.
yeah, you wouldn't want to make fun of deaf people on the podcast. That's who you
Oh, yeah, the deaf. Fuck me.
Yeah, 'cause
You're
they
a
can't
useless bunch of cunts.
Unless they get it in Braille. Who's going to listen to a podcast?
How do the deaf listen to this podcast? What do they do?
I don't know. We really need to investigate that. We're missing out on a huge chunk of.
I do sign language, a beautiful thing that you'll never see.
There's probably. Did you just sign? There's probably like some sort of machine.
Nobody
that you can-
knows the level of sign language that I have.
What did you just do? And sign.
Anyway, to summarize.
I love how the beginning of the podcast is a lot of gusto, and then you say to summarize like 5 times near the end of it. We're like,
I think it's because you got to pee.
podcast
Yeah,
for
it
the
is.
deaf. Listen on Stitcher Radio. I guess there's something.
To summarize, what happened was...
Are you done,
This lady wants to say that there's people who need...
You don't have to summarize this thing up if you don't want to.
We done?
Yeah, we can be done. You don't have to. It's an act 4. You'd have to really delve
All right,
into it.
right.
There's a woman. She's an idiot. We said you don't have to. We have to really get in. So we solved that problem by saying, "Shut up."
I'd like to say to everyone who listens to the podcast, thank you.
What about our guest?
I'm going to thank Gabriel. To everybody who listens to the podcast, thank you. Without you, I could have my afternoon off, but you keep listening. The Gabriel, I love you. You're one of the greatest comedians in the world. You've always been a big supporter of me. I'm a big
Huge
supporter
supporter,
of
man.
you. I have to go for a piss, brother.
I'll see you there.
All right.
Hey.
Good night,
Thank you,
Australia.
Leslie Love. Thanks for being on, Gabriel. I will say real quick before we go, as always, if there's a topic you want us to talk about, tweet to us at Jeffrey Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Catch up on the latest episodes of The Daily Show by listening to The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Ears Edition. Trevor Noah and the world's fakest news team tackle the biggest story in news, politics, and pop culture. It's like The Daily Show, but for your ears only. Studies show ears are great for listening, and who are we to deny science? Tune into The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Ears Edition for highlights and extended interviews, available Tuesday through Friday mornings on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you can get your ears on a podcast.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
Basically, they're dangerous again.
It's like an outdoor Chuck E. Cheese.
Wait a minute.
dangerous.
Tell me about, you go, they might dig up glass or dog shit.
Yeah, well, that was...
Dog shit's not dangerous, it's just inconvenient.
Parents don't want kids playing with dog shit, is what I'm saying. That's why they got rid. So these parks, they'll have like tools like saws and drills. They can build stuff, which is dangerous. They have, and then in the one clip we had, they were breaking up boards with a sledgehammer and lighting on a fire. And there's supervisors there that make sure things don't get out of control, but they don't tell them what to do. So it's like they're just lighting fires and they're stepping on nails and stuff. But what the idea is that it allows kids to like make decisions for themselves, become more independent, learn how to work in groups, things like that, instead of just being coddled. You know?
Yeah.
But it's extreme.
It is
extreme.
It is
yeah.
extreme.
Anyway, to summarize, the result that we learnt from the whole thing was nothing. Normally, like when we do a piece at the end, we go, "Oh, I've learned A, B, C, and D." But then
I wouldn't say nothing. I think your idea was, hey, you don't have to be involved in every single decision, like everything, every second of their life, but also let them have a little bit of freedom. That's kind of what we said, just like kind of not be an insane person. That's what you said.
And that brings us through to Act 4 because we had look.
I like how you were like giving the history of Australia, and now you're just like
Parenting
back to
was
the
like,
podcast.
what, 2 minutes?
Yeah, parenting done with that.
Stay in the Tesla.
I need to piss. I've got
really?
2 minutes left in this
Sure you don't want to give
podcast.
Captain Cook's fucking biography again? Let's go back to that.
Jack, get me a drink, and if you can,
I'm there with you, though.
Can you get?
You wanna pause it?
Can you get something for Forrest, which is nasty, like a cup of acid or something?
Oh, you just want to throw it in my face?
No, I'm not going. It's not like we dated. Anyway, so.
So yeah, but I do think we wrapped it up okay. Where you're just kind of like be normal. You don't have to be in extremes for the parents.
Yeah, just that's as with all of our pieces, do your best. Anyway, so Act 4, diaper consent. What the fuck does that mean for us?
Nappy consent.
Nappy consent.
Yeah,
Nappy.
nappy.
The lady with
That
the
is
pink
definitely
hair.
a word that's different in Australia. There's nappies
She's gone viral.
and diaper. Yeah, you've seen that before.
It's like
I saw the
like
lady.
when you hear that racist term, like they're nappy-headed, whatever.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like a diaper-headed person. What does nappy-head mean?
well, it
There was like a radio DJ, that guy who got in trouble for saying
Don
it.
Imus. He got in trouble
What
for
is the word? Is like I'm assuming it's racist. It's against black people.
He was
What-
making a reference to the girls' basketball team at Rutgers University years ago.
yes,
Yeah.
but the term nappy
called them nappy-headed hoes.
But what
Yes.
does nappy-headed mean? Does that mean curly-headed?
He was referring to their hair. Is what he was saying.
Yeah, but what does why is the term nappy derogatory? I'm just trying to learn. Why?
He called them nappy-headed hose. First of all, is what he called
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
But
There's
as
things
far as
I
it being
understand.
derogatory,
I
it's not-
understand why hose is derogatory.
I can't tell you what's
'Cause even-
derogatory. I know in
even
my
if you cut
head
off-
that it's not a good
Yeah.
thing. Like just growing up in America, I was like, that's not a good way to address somebody. But
Even if he cut off
I think
nappy-headed,
it's
he would have just called him hose.
I think it's like it's probably like a term that was used back in. I don't know.
No, it's not
Looking it
good.
up.
But I thought
Slavery.
I thought I would know what that word meant. It has obviously have a different meaning.
Different meaning.
Yeah, but the origin of it, I don't know. But it's not good. I don't think so. He also said some other things.
Anyway, just to summarize.
So there was a lady.
Why are we summarizing on that? We're just like bumbling over nappy head. It's like, Jesus.
Anyway,
I had to do with the lady that
So
said that-
basically, in that piece, there was a sexuality expert in Australia, your country, that said you have to get consent from a baby before you can change their diaper. And even though they can't talk, they'll make eye contact and let you know.
she was a very muscular woman. There's a beach named after her.
She had purple. She had purple hair too.
Anyway, so she was a sexuality expert. Like, how the fuck do you get that job? How all of a sudden are you an
Just
expert?
make it up.
Is there a
Not like a
course?
expert.
It's like I'm a
Yeah.
pie expert. I've eaten a lot of pies.
Exactly. You're ready to go. Go on the talk shows.
So what happened was she was saying that when babies get their diapers changed, the parent needs to get consent first.
Take a beat, look at your baby, make eye contact, and then move in. To
See,
clean the
this-
shit.
to
This
teach the
is-
babies to be more empowered. I
Okay,
guess.
that's fine. So the baby can look at you and sort of go, rah, rah, rah. Okay, spanner works, right? What happens if your baby has cerebral palsy and can't make eye contact or hand gestures?
What if your baby's blind?
Oh, well, no one cares about the blind.
Oh, okay, good point. Yeah. No, I mean,
Hey, I'm sorry, because this is a medium you do enjoy. We do care about you. I'm sure that you blind people enjoy this podcast more than the show.
yeah, you wouldn't want to make fun of deaf people on the podcast. That's who you
Oh, yeah, the deaf. Fuck me.
Yeah, 'cause
You're
they
a
can't
useless bunch of cunts.
Unless they get it in Braille. Who's going to listen to a podcast?
How do the deaf listen to this podcast? What do they do?
I don't know. We really need to investigate that. We're missing out on a huge chunk of.
I do sign language, a beautiful thing that you'll never see.
There's probably. Did you just sign? There's probably like some sort of machine.
Nobody
that you can-
knows the level of sign language that I have.
What did you just do? And sign?
Anyway, to summarize.
I love how the beginning of the podcast is a lot of gusto, and then you say to summarize like 5 times near the end of it. We're like,
I think it's because you got to pee.
podcast for the deaf. Listen on Stitcher Radio. I guess there's something.
To summarize, what happened was...
Are you done?
This lady wants to say that there's people who need...
You don't have to summarize this thing up if you don't want to.
We done?
Yeah, we can be done. You don't have to. It's an act 4. You'd have to really delve into it.
Right.
There's a woman. She's an idiot. We said you don't have to. We have to really get in. So we solved that problem by saying, "Shut up."
I'd like to say to everyone who listens to the podcast, thank you.
What about our guest?
I'm about to thank Gabriel. To everybody who listens to the podcast, thank you. Without you, I could have my afternoon off, but you keep listening. The Gabriel, I love you. You're one of the greatest comedians in the world. You've always been a big supporter of me. I'm a big supporter of you. I have to go for a piss, brother.
I'll see you there.
All right.
Hey.
Good night, Australia.
Love. Thanks for being on, Gabriel. I will say real quick before we go, as always, if there's a topic you want us to talk about, tweet to us at Jefferies Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Catch up on the latest episodes of The Daily Show by listening to The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Ears Edition. Trevor Noah and the world's fakest news team tackle the biggest story in news, politics, and pop culture. It's like The Daily Show, but for your ears only. Studies show ears are great for listening, and who are we to deny science? Tune into The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Ears Edition for highlights and extended interviews, available Tuesday through Friday mornings on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you can get your ears on a podcast.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
Thanks for being on, Gabriel. I will say real quick before we go, as always, if there's a topic you want us to talk about, tweet to us at Jefferies Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Catch up on the latest episodes of The Daily Show by listening to The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Ears Edition. Trevor Noah and the world's fakest news team tackle the biggest story in news, politics, and pop culture. It's like The Daily Show, but for your ears only. Studies show ears are great for listening, and who are we to deny science? Tune into The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Ears Edition for highlights and extended interviews, available Tuesday through Friday mornings on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you can get your ears on a podcast.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast. This has been a Comedy Central podcast.